So, imagine a world, a perfect world, where in which my wings are always even. Wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, today we are not in that world. Hello, this is my May wrap up. Is it June when I'm filming this? Of course it is, because I never film wrap ups on time. As it turns out, in the month of May, I ended up reading 9 books. I have no idea how that happened. I have no idea when I got the time for that to happen, but I read 9 books. So let's talk about the 9 books I read, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't lose my mind. Because I seem to have a track record where every time I do a wrap up, I slowly lose my goddamn mind. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. In the month of May, I read 1 audiobook, 3 ebooks, and 5 physical books. Starting off with the physical books, I'm going to do this in no particular order, simply because I don't stack my books properly. I'm not prepared for this, I'm not prepared. Saying that, we're actually going to start with the first book that I read in the month of May. Ooh, look at me go. I'm doing things properly for once. Don't get used to it. I ended up rereading 1984 by George Orwell. Reread, you asked me? Oh yes, reread, indeed I did. I actually read 1984 like a year ago, I think. I listened to the audiobook. I didn't like it. Then I started a Utopia Dystopia module and I read it again. Still didn't like it. I actually didn't end up reading this book simply for the fact that it was a reread and I kind of skim read it simply because I was writing an essay for it. Can you tell I'm an amazing university student? I'm just so good at what I do. So good. If you don't know, 1984 is a dystopian novel wherein which a guy called Winston Smith is in a world which utterly sucks, has no joy in it, and is run by the ominous Big Brother. And he kind of decides one day, hey, I hate my life, what if I brought down Big Brother? And that's basically it. That's the storyline. It's interesting, I understand why people love this novel, I understand why people hate this novel. It's written in a very easy to read way, however there is a rather large chunk of this novel where I don't think anyone enjoyed reading it. If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this. It's a brilliant novel if you want to write an essay about dystopian worlds, and if you want to write about family in the dystopian universe, I would highly recommend this. This is what I ended up doing my essay on, and I found it incredibly interesting. That doesn't mean I like the book though. I'm a bad university student. What can I say? The next physical book I have in front of me here is In the Miso Soup by Ru Murakami. I really like this book. This, I believe I gave it 5 stars. I adored it. It was iconic. So In the Miso Soup is actually a very short novel and it follows this guy called Kenji who is a guide to the nightlife, let's say, of Tokyo when he meets this guy called Frank who is an American who is very strange. And interesting things occur in the 3 days that they spend together. I adored this. It was weird. It was kind of unsettling. It was a thriller where you kind of know going into it what's going to happen, but you still want to find out more. I adored it. This was a really random purchase for me. I ended up buying this, if you saw my last video, whenever I went out with my friend Lou on a little book date. I saw this book 3 times that day, so it felt like fate that I had to pick it up. And thank God that I did, because I loved it to bits. I really want to read more Murakami, because I love this so much, and it seems like the rest of his books are also kind of weird, semi-twisty, and overall strange. I highly recommend this. I really enjoyed it. So if you have a similar reading taste to me where you like kind of weird, kind of twisty, overall strange and sort of absurd things, I feel like you might like this. The next book we're going to talk about is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I think that's how you say her name. Again, if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me down below because I can't pronounce things. Ooh wait, cute dyslexic things. This is actually a graphic novel, but not only is it a graphic novel, it's a memoir. I didn't realise that when I bought it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not gonna lie. I did buy this because of Bookstagram. Oh wait, I saw like 3 different people post about it. I knew nothing about it. I just saw they really liked it and it seemed really interesting and I went, ah yes, I will buy that. And so I did. And I don't regret it. I actually really did enjoy it. I ended up giving this novel 4 stars. It is a very interesting look into the author's life when she grew up in Iran. I ended up actually really enjoying this book. It takes a look into the author's life when she was a child growing up in Iran, and then whenever she quite literally had to escape Iran to get away from the war-torn country. It is incredibly interesting. It is a very narrow look into one person's own unique experience coming from Iran and dealing with a war-torn country that they lived in. However, I really enjoyed it and I found it incredibly interesting. And if you want to diversify your reading a little bit more and look into maybe more memoirs or look into kind of stuff about Iran, I would really recommend it. I find it very interesting. Also, have to say it, because it is a graphic novel, illustrations are beautiful. It is illustrated in such a wonderful, beautiful way. Everything is highly simplistic in the most kind of complex way. I know that sounds really faffy and like doesn't make any sense, but trust me, if you've had a look at it, you'll definitely understand what I mean. It's just beautiful and so simplistic and poignant and straight to the point. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very interesting. The next book in front of me that we have to talk about is The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham. So, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never read a Wyndham book before. I say Wyndham, it's like Wyndham? Wyndham. Accent things. I have never read one of his books before. And to be entirely honest, I had never heard of his books before. Why did I read this then, you're wondering? Because it's the book that The Village of the Damned and Children of the Damned was based off of. So, I had to read it. I love old classic horror films, mainly because I found them really funny, and I thought it was a really interesting premise. So when I found out that that film was based off of a book, bruh, I had to get it. Again, this is a rather short novel. It is also a dystopian novel, kind of. It's like sci-fi, it's sci-fi. This novel takes place in the sleepy village of Midwich, and follows it after a rather strange event occurs in which everyone falls asleep for a whole day. Or is it 2 days? I don't remember, but it's very interesting. And everyone ends up getting pregnant at the exact same time. Interesting, no? Strange. Yes. Wonderful to read. Very enjoyable. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I thought it was really entertaining, to be entirely honest. I think I read it all in a day. The majority of the day I actually was in the car while my parents were like running around doing things. I kind of just wanted to sit in the backseat and read. I don't know if you ever get that vibe. I get that vibe quite a lot though. And it was highly enjoyable. I found it really fun, really interesting, and it was just such a cool premise that I had never really read in a book before. So if you like sci-fi, if you want to read something short and kind of weird and pretty fun, I would recommend it. It was a good read. I really enjoyed it. And now I think I'm actually going to look up more of his books because I really liked his writing style. It was super easy to read. There wasn't any like overly fancy terminology in it, and it was just kind of straight to the point. And I really liked that. It was very enjoyable. Again, I recommend. The last physical book I read in the month of May was Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. If you know me, you know I love me some gay shit. And most importantly, I love me some Heartstopper. What can I say? It was a good month for me. I ended up giving Heartstopper 4, unsurprisingly, 5 stars. I cried multiple times. No shame. Just sad gay things. Sad gay things. If you don't know what the Heartstopper series is about, it is about a boy called Charlie, and he ends up having a massive crush on a guy in his form class called Nick. And then cute fluffy gay stuff ensues. It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it so much. So in the 4th volume of Heartstopper, things got a little more serious. There was a lot more sad gay shit happening, and it really hurt my itty bitty soul, and it made me very sad because it made me think a lot about my relationship. My relationship's fine. Hi. I have a girlfriend. Did you not know that? Have I never mentioned that before? I don't think I've ever mentioned that before. Hi, you just found out another fun tidbit about me. This volume really made me think about my relationship and made me very sad, so I cried multiple times, and I loved every single second of it. I recommend the Heartstopper series if you haven't read it yet, but then again, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. Maybe not everyone in this world wants to read about a really cute, wholesome, queer friendship group, and cute, adorable gays, you know, discovering first love, you know. I guess that's not up everyone's alley. for some reason. But yes, Heartstopper Volume 4. 5 stars, iconic, amazing. I am going to cry so much when this series finishes. It finishes next year, and I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm ready for it. It's gonna be like Paper Girls all over again. I'm gonna get to the end and just garden, sob, and then immediately think about when I'm next going to reread the entire series. So there's that. Physical books aside, let's get on to audio and ebooks that I read this month. As it turns out, I am a big dirty liar, and I did not read one audiobook this month, I read two. So let's talk about those. The first audiobook I listened to this month was Kim Ji-young, born 1982. Oh my god, I loved it. So I got into a habit during the month of May where I would just listen to audiobooks whenever I was in the bath, and I took baths a lot because I had a lot of pain. It was an interesting month for me. But I ended up listening to Kim Ji-young, born 1982, and it was amazing. It lived up to the hype. Also, saying that, I did not know when I bought this audiobook that there was hype around it. As you know with me, I tend to go into books blind. I just kind of pick up whatever interests me, and I don't really read any reviews or look up how anyone's feeling about it. So I went into this book completely blind, and then discovered when I started reading it that a lot of people have read it and a lot of people loved it. Colour me surprised, because I was. This novel is written by Cho Nam-ju, and it is honestly just beautiful. As you can imagine from the title, this novel follows Kim Ji-young, who was born, you guessed it, in 1982, and it kind of chronicles her life up until the present day. I can't really explain too much about it, because when you kind of get into it, you start to realise what the novel is about, and I don't want to spoil that for you. I would honestly say if you have an interest in Korea and Korean culture and what it means to be a woman in Korea, I would highly recommend you looking up this book, because it was just simply wonderful. I really enjoyed the audiobook aspect of it. It was narrated by a man, which really confused me at first, and then ended up making sense literally in the last 5 minutes. Then it made sense why it was narrated by a man. So, I would recommend the audiobook, and maybe with the knowledge that it's meant to be narrated by a man, you will understand it and not be as confused about the whole male narration as I was for the first 20 minutes of this novel. Like I said, I don't really want to get into it too much about what this novel was about, because I don't want to spoil it for you, because I feel like if you're like me, it would be a really good idea to go into this just near enough completely blind. It was beautiful, magical, wonderful, amazing. It did that thing that I love in books where not a lot happens, but everything happens. It's very, very specific. I know. It is the most vague thing ever, but also highly specific. If you get what I mean, please comment, tell me that you understand the way my brain is working. I love novels where it kind of goes over a really large expanse of time and talks about really minuscule things that happened in it, because they all matter at the end and just in general, but you don't realise it until you finish it. Yeah, very specific. That totally makes sense, Rachel. Wow, amazing. Yes, no, I'm gonna stop rambling about this book. I just really loved it. Personally, I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. It's exactly the kind of book that I love. However, if you're someone that didn't enjoy it, I don't blame you. I understand why people wouldn't like it. The next audiobook that I listened to was Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I'm not going to talk about this one too much because, for one, everyone knows about Throne of Glass. I feel like it's kind of given. Everyone knows about Sarah J Maas. And also, there's a lot of stuff happening about Sarah J Maas right now, which she has not come out and directly commented on, so I don't really want to promote her books right now, understandably. But yeah, I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I have all of the audiobooks for this series, so I will probably just be listening to them just because I can't return them or anything right now. And I need something to play in the background when I make candles and I'm only kind of half paying attention, so yeah. But I probably won't talk about them too much in my upcoming wrap-ups until she comes out and makes a statement. So let's move past that one. And we are going to round this off with the 2 ebooks that I ended up reading this month, which, from the moment I tell you about them, you may realise are very, very unlike me to read. First off, I read Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. If you don't know what Attachments is about, I don't blame you. I had no idea before I started reading it. Basically, this is a romance novel with a split narrative following a guy called Lincoln who ends up working in security or should I say cybersecurity, or should I say cyber snooping for a newspaper company. And while he is cyber snooping at people's emails, he ends up reading emails between these two friends called Beth and Jennifer, and things ensue. It was very wholesome, actually, to be fair. It was quite a cute book. I really enjoyed it. There were aspects that I didn't like. There were some things that we see Beth and Jennifer emailing about that kind of gave me a bad taste in my mouth, because Beth is rather, I'm not like other girls, and that kind of pissed me off. But it didn't really surprise me because that is Rainbow Royal's kind of vibe. I don't know if it's just me that gets that kind of feeling from her books, but I always get like a I'm not like other girls vibe, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't like women hating women. What can I say? Controversial opinion? But no, attachments. It was actually rather cute. I enjoyed it. It was really easy to read. I would say it was fast-paced for me. I don't know if it was fast-paced in general. Like I said earlier about Kim Ji-young, it was a lot of stuff happens that's not that big of a deal, but kind of becomes a big deal. You get me? You get me. Like, not a lot happens, but at the same time a lot's happening. I don't know. I really need to think of a better way to, like, explain that phenomenon in books. But I like it. I like it. What can I say? It's kind of my thing. If you're looking for a cute romance, which is unconventional, kind of questionable, and will just take your mind off life, I would recommend reading Attachments, I guess. It's probably the best Rainbow Royal book that I have read, which really surprised me. And it was a romance, like a pure romance, and I read a pure romance, what the fuck, and actually enjoyed it. Very weird. Don't know how I feel about that. The last book I read in the month of May was Dear Ava by Ailsa Madden Mills. This was very out of my comfort zone. Dear Ava and Attachments are 2 of 5 books that I am reading for an upcoming vlog video thing that you will see soon, that I am very excited but also very confused about the fact that I have made. Hopefully that'll be out soon enough after this. I'm currently reading the last book of the 5, so fingers crossed that'll be out kind of soon. When it is, I will link it in the description of this video in case you're watching it, I don't know, several weeks after I post it. Probably not, but if you are, Dear Ava is also a romance novel, same as Attachments. However, this one's a bit more, I don't know, there's like an undercurrent of mystery throughout it. I guess you could call it that. A girl called Ava ends up returning to school after a prolonged period of absence because she was attacked one night in the woods. And the kind of sort of chaos that ensues as she tries to figure out who it was that took advantage of her in the woods. And there's a guy called Knox who, fancies her. I mean, we kind of figure out that in the first chapter, and it's a romance novel, so I don't think I need to kind of explain more about that. I don't think that's any kind of spoiler. But this was an interesting novel. There were parts of it I liked, parts of it I didn't like. I gave it 3 stars. I feel like that's understandable. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on Dear Ava. I kind of really liked it, and then I got to the 80% mark and I promptly hated it. It honestly had an ending that I really didn't enjoy because I thought it was, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of convoluted, and then I thought it was cringy, and then it just kind of made me want to throw my Kindle at a wall. So we're just not going to talk about it. If you loved it though, I don't blame you. There were a lot of fun, cool things throughout it, and I imagine if you're someone who really loves romance and who wanted a little bit of a mystery twist, you might really enjoy it. Personally, it wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I can't really say anything too bad about it. There's nothing awful about it. It just, we didn't mesh well. We didn't mesh well. These things happen. And with that, those are the 9 books I read in the month of May. If you've read any of these books, please comment down below, tell me about them. Did you have the same kind of feelings that I did towards them? Do you have differing opinions? I know for a fact my friend Lou had a differing opinion to me when it came to Kim Ji-young. I know she didn't really vibe with it, but I really vibed with it. So if you have any feelings towards any of the books I've talked about, start a convo with me about them. I would like to chat about them. Even when I don't particularly like a book, I enjoy talking about it. I don't know. I think I just like talking about my thoughts. Is that an unpopular opinion? I don't know. I don't care. If you like this video, please like it, and if you want to see more from me, then subscribe. I am hopefully, fingers crossed, from now on going to be putting out a video every Monday. I did a poll on my Instagram where people were like, hell yeah, Monday videos. So hopefully that's going to be a thing. I have a few videos planned, and I'm looking forward to what this summer brings for my channel, because I have a lot of fun stuff planned, and hopefully you guys will like it. Fingers crossed. I've done a lot of fingers crossing here. A lot of fingers crossing. Have no idea why. I don't know. It's one of those days. And without further ado, that is everything from me. By the way, did I tell you? My name's Ray. I like books. I feel like you guessed that by now. Okay.